Bem, boa noite a todos. Meu nome é Felipe, eu sou representante do Tradingview aqui no Brasil e hoje a gente está aqui para fazer mais um webinar. Esse webinar é muito especial. Nós temos um convidado de peso internacional hoje, que é o Scott Carney. O Scott, ele é o desenvolvedor de uma técnica extremamente conhecida e utilizada nos Estados Unidos, uma técnica de análise técnica, que ele batizou de Harmonic Trading, e que basicamente funciona baseado nas relações de Fibonacci, sequências de relações de Fibonacci. E o Scott, ele tem mais de 30 anos de experiência, ele é autor de mais de 10 livros aí, se eu não me engano. E é um webinar realmente muito especial, é um grande prazer para a gente receber o Scott no nosso canal aqui no Brasil. O Scott, ele tem a intenção de divulgar a técnica dele aqui no Brasil, e foi digamos assim, um encontro perfeito. Como o Scott é americano, ele não fala português, apesar de ele ser casado com uma brasileira, e ele vai fazer esse webinar em inglês, mas depois a gente vai disponibilizar uma versão com legenda para vocês aí, vou colocar a legenda em português. Scott, thank you very much again to accept our invitation, and I will pass the word to you. Thank you very much.
Obrigado. Estou aprendendo a falar português, mas sou americano e adoro o Brasil.
Great.
I really appreciate you guys making this opportunity, and you know, it's been a while actually since I've really started my interaction with what's going on in Brazil, and even taking a look at harmonics in the Brazilian market. I've done a lot of research on harmonic patterns and the specific ratios that really comprise what are the advantages of what we do and this framework, because really it's a framework, it's a way we measure the market, and we utilize ratios that are related to cycles that repeat in nature all the time. And that is one of the unique kind of mystical things about what it is and how it works. But there are natural cyclical patterns that repeat in the market, and that's what we measure, identify, and utilize to define opportunities. Are we able to share our screen and take a look at a couple of charts?
Absolutely, Scott.
Because we can take a look at some recent posts that I have. I don't know, can you see my screen? Can I share?
Not yet, actually.
All right. Let me share the screen there.
Now it's working.
Excellent. So I do post on the Tradingview platform, and actually we have a number of things that are about to be announced in partnership with Tradingview, and it really fantastic things that I'm looking to do. I've connected with a number of people that are in the forum. It is probably the most popular harmonic forum in the world. I mean, they get 100,000 or more view a days on their harmonic pattern section. So for my ideas and things that I do, I'm probably not as active as some of these other guys. I mean, here's a guy who's doing a bullish bat, and you frequently see patterns. I like to be more selective and look for longer term opportunities, but what I do is really stick with the clearest of situations. So harmonic patterns, they can happen and unfold on any time frame in any market, and I've tested it, and I've actually tested it historically, researching markets 100 years or more, looking at charts from 100 years ago. We see the same patterns, same measures to find opportunities. I like to look for the clearest patterns and the clearest relationships to define my opportunities. And one of them was on crude oil, or actually West Texas oil, about 2 weeks ago, back here in May. And this is just one example of what a harmonic pattern can do for you and what it's all about, really. It's most of the primary patterns are these M-shaped patterns, and that's the bullish side, and if you can have W-shaped patterns, but they possess exact ratios, and that defines the alignments. So these alignments, along with a particular, this ABCD structure, and I'll outline one or two of those in a minute, but just in general, we look at the pattern to identify our predictive points and look for these cyclical points. In this case, with US oil here, this structure possesses all of the elements of what's called a bullish Gartley pattern. And one of the things that I was looking at is I witnessed this breakdown, and you can utilize this pattern in two ways. Yes, you can trade that breakdown from C to D and actually have a definable target, as well as trade and look to capitalize on the reversal. And even on my comments, I was outlining the severity of this current decline and said that today's breakdown triggers the CD leg of a daily bullish Gartley at 44. So we're looking for it to complete at $44. At the time of the post, it was at 48. And then I said, due to the RSI, this will flush hard and fast, meaning sell it down. It's going to go down quickly. And look at the indicator. And that's another part, the secondary part that I use, because I utilize patterns and then I look at certain indicators, not many, but relative strength. And I've developed my own indicator called Harmonic Strength Index, because I think they give us a great idea of the extremes of the market, and in combination with the patterns, they work extremely well together. So this is really what it's about, because we recognize specific patterns like this, and we look for confirmation like this. So here's what happened. And this is just one example. I'll show you the other example. These are actually just the last two. I'll show you the last two posts that I've put on Tradingview so far this month. But that sharp reversal, that's not a coincidence. Okay, and that is really the definition, and that shows you what this is all about, because this pattern is defining a natural cycle. That's how I understood where it would complete, and actually even understood the kind of reversal it very well turned out to be. So that's incredibly important to get your measurements right, understand what the patterns are. I identified all of the harmonic patterns, which are the M and W structures, in my 3 books. I have 4 in total. The Harmonic Trader, and then Harmonic Trader Volume 1, 2, and 3. And they outline, and that's been all of my research over the years, to define these patterns and then really figure out what works best with them. And that's one example. I mean, you can even look at, we can go to the follow-up here. And this also shows you kind of how the indicator confirmation works, because right here is $44. Okay, and that was the call for the completion point of the pattern and where the expected reversal. So we were looking to execute for a long position at this $44. And we also had ideal confirmation where this indicator hit the extreme and was already turning up when it gave us and hit our target number. Now, this is an incredible example. And this is actually this bullish Gartley here. And then I put in the comments here that I'm looking for it to go to $50. So that's where the original post was, that it was going to 44. And then here was the follow-up that it was going higher to $50. So here's what's happened since this update. And again, based on the patterns numbers, based on measuring and understanding what these patterns and structures are all about. So that is one example, and that was the first one of the month. And then I'll show you one that's happening right now. Again, another pattern. And this was posted a couple days ago, yesterday, about Snap. Now this is a deep crab pattern. This is yet another pattern. This is called an extension pattern, where when we identify these four parts of the pattern, so that's X, that's A, B, C, D, okay, then we can make assumptions, and based on what these patterns, the ratios they possess, once we start to commence this C to D point, especially when we break that B point, we already can get a feel that because of this structure, that our assumption and our measured target is a 1618, and that is one of the harmonic ratios that works with this alignment, this M type structure, that tells us that I don't want to even think about this to buy this until it gets under $16, where the pattern completes, maybe $15.75. This is Snapchat, right after the IPO. And after the IPO went to $25. Now we're 19. Well, how do I know where it's a real buy? If I really believe in Snapchat, if it's the next Facebook, I still want to measure my opportunities. I want to look for patterns like this that tell me this initial selling cycle is over. So I posted that, and this is a bit of a longer term pattern. Again, utilizing this larger pattern, we can have a preference, actually understand that this is still in a downtrend. So respecting this larger downtrend move, and then even look for short-term opportunities like we had yesterday. And so here's the follow-up. This was, again, the other post that I had of, this is yet another type of harmonic pattern called a 5-0 pattern. And there's some other relationships here that are showing us that this market is starting to roll over, and maybe that larger downtrend is commencing now. So we look at these kind of structures and we look at these measurements to understand where the possible natural cyclical swing points can occur. And so just here's the follow-up on Snap of what's happened so far. Okay, and I'm expecting that to continue lower to complete the larger setup. But again, important thing here, everything that I do, the framework that I've presented in harmonic trading is all about a disciplined, measured approach to understand whatever market is you're trading and identify your parameters really based on the market's history. The market forms patterns, and we can utilize measures, certain indicators to understand that the market can only move so far, so fast in one direction. And that's what creates opportunities to buy and sell as the market fluctuates back and forth. That is really the structure, and that structure is key to what we do. And you know, really the early recognition of the power of the ratios that I coordinated, that a lot of the alignments that I defined was I think the turning point where we could actually identify these, that one, natural cycles do exist in the market, and two, it's possible to measure them. Now it's, there's certain conditions that I really believe are essential if you're going to try to measure patterns, and a lot of people do use Fibonacci related ratios. I call them harmonic ratios because really the only Fibonacci ratios there are is the 61.8% and the 161.8%. And I won't get into the why about the Fibonacci sequence and all of that, but I'm more about talking about just understanding that you can measure structures, you can measure market movements, and then be able to project targets, but they have to be specific situations, and it takes some experience to understand, to know what to expect. I'll just post this last one. This was an update, and I've been quite bullish on the market going back to last July. And this larger pattern here was posted earlier this year. And I was looking for, and still am, a larger continuation, even despite today's large down day. We still have targets that are higher. So this is still continuing up, the larger targets up here. This is the SPY S&P 500 ETF. But just important to really understand that the key to what we do, and I think the key breakthrough for a lot of traders, is that they realize that once they measure the market, they're able to see opportunities and realize that really kind of mathematically define where opportunities of support and resistance exist. Let me ask you guys a question. How did you guys come into harmonics, harmonic patterns? And what are, really what are the best markets you find for harmonic patterns? You guys still with us?
Yes.
Well, go ahead, Judah.
For me, myself, Scott, I first saw the harmonic patterns on Tradingview, and I started to search for videos on YouTube, and then I came across your books. And as we spoke before, I read all the books, and I started to use that on Forex. And I find the patterns really accurate, and the response to them very, very good. And that's exactly where I started to be like in the right side of the market, where I had an edge. So I had really low risk opportunities with larger profits ahead. And after that, like this year, I started to trade in the Brazilian stocks, Bovespa. And for Forex, yes, the liquidity there, and you can see very, very fast that the patterns work really well. And nowadays in the Brazilian stocks, I'm seeing as well that the patterns work just fine. That's my experience. That's how I came across.
Well, from my side, I believe that index are a very technical asset, let's say like that. I believe that Fibonacci works better in index, in my opinion. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I think there are times where, depending on the movement of the market, depending on how much action. If the market's just moving sideways, you're not going to get too many fantastic patterns. You get markets like we have currently that are really moving, you're going to get great structures. Here are some guys that are on Tradingview. I'm just showing some of the harmonic patterns that are featured. And, you know, this is kind of a new subject because these are ideas. This is a really nice structure here. This is dollar yen, bullish bat. Here is the zone, the potential reversal zone. But there's a lot of people that need to understand that the measurements need to be precise. You have to have the correct alignment and understand some of the basic concepts of identification, execution, and management. And I outline all of that on my site. And actually, I have a free book that is in Portuguese, as well as English and some other languages. Let me put this up on my site on harmonictrader.com. Okay, you can sign up and get the access to the Portuguese download of the PDF. And actually, that's probably something where I'll also send you guys a link, make it easier for people to access that Portuguese download. But it is, you know, a lot of the ideas and a lot of what the kind of the advancements, really based around the M and W structures with the whole advancement of these exact measurements. And they are exact ratios. Let me just show the books and just show, this is actually the most recent book here. But here are all the patterns that, and there's a lot of information that I make available for free on my website. For example, here's the most basic, a little bit slow here. This ABCD pattern, that's the basic structure that defines and is the starting point for all patterns. And you can click on a free video, take a look at that. Here is probably the most popular pattern, harmonic pattern, is the bat pattern. And that was, there's a bat pattern in the Bovespa, actually in the daily right now at the 886 retracement. But yeah, and actually here are the harmonic numbers, the Fibonacci number derivations that we use. They're specific numbers. And let me see if I can make that even bigger here. Easier to see. And I can even show, you know what, let me just show the origin of where the numbers come from. It's based on a natural sequence, the Fibonacci sequence, and I won't even go through it, but the essence of why the numbers work and why these two numbers, that 618 and the 1618, those ratios define a lot of natural cycles. And then when we look at them in the market, they are applicable as well. So there's a lot of natural examples in plants and astronomical examples of various planetary cycles. I mean, really crazy stuff, but, and I leave that to everyone to take a look at for themselves, but it's really about identifying these exact structures, measuring them properly. Here's the Gartley, and that's probably most famous of all. Let me hit this up here. And there's a number here. This is a very good video to check out on just the basics of the structure itself. The other thing I would suggest is that, you know, I know there's a lot of people out there who are trying to sell courses, and they're selling harmonic courses for thousands of dollars. Now, I've got some fantastic software, and I've got a lot of tools but I would suggest to every trader that they do get some education first, and they can come to the YouTube channel where you can watch hours of videos for free of live trades, or even something as simple as here's an essential introduction, okay, of what harmonic patterns are all about. And that, I'm a big believer in that, because you know, I'm not a crazy fan of a lot of the nonsense that goes on. I think a lot of people are getting marketed to, and I think a lot of people are paying a lot of money, and then they don't walk away with a trading skill. And you need a trading skill. You need an advantage. You need a trading plan. If you're really going to try to trade and be successful, you need some skills. And it takes a little bit of time, and you need to see people do it live. I do it live 4 days a week. I have a live trading room. So all of that you can check out at the gold membership, harmonictrader.com. And this is from my site. And this is, you know, do check me out, check everybody out, because I'm not saying that harmonics are the only way that you can trade, but I firmly believe that this is information. These measurements are defined price levels that can't be ignored. And many people are finding out about that. It's becoming one of the most popular ways to identify opportunities. It's really popular in the social trading arena. And, you know, I encourage people to take a thorough look, because other people have found new ideas just looking at the basic structures of the patterns, basic ABCDs. And, you know, it's the thing that I know that it does, as you guys pointed out, that it forces the trader to measure and really understand the market that they're getting into, which is the only way you're going to succeed. So, you know, I'm you know, I've been at this, and next year pretty much will be 20 years of harmonic trading, as really since its first book, my first book, The Harmonic Trader. And you know, it's pretty amazing to see what's happened since that first book. You know, it really, these ideas emerged from really just when we first started online back in '95, which is crazy, on the dial-up. In fact, some of my first trades that I placed, because I placed my first trades back in 1989, 90, we would literally call on the telephone and be calling for quotes to get updates. But where it is today is remarkable. And, you know, so I want to thank you guys for the opportunity, because I want everyone to understand the importance of how effective these patterns are. But as long as they're applied properly, there are specific numbers that really make these patterns harmonic. So that's really my real goal with the work, because this really has become my work, and you know, my life's work in terms of the markets. I've been mentored by some fantastic people, some legends, and they've been gracious enough to, you know, listen to my ideas. And so, you know, I've actually came to know Jose. Just, he reached out to me, shared a lot of ideas, and we've been able to really, you know, talk and learn about what's going on from his end. So, you know, I appreciate the opportunity, guys. This is exactly why I do what I do. If I didn't love what I do, I wouldn't be doing it. So, you know, again, this has been a great opportunity. If you want more information, you can check out my site at harmonictrader.com. The other thing, the other program that this is actually want to show, I have an entire platform. Now, this is something I think we will bring to TradingView. But for right now, this is our main platform of the Harmonic Trader platform, which does all of the patterns automatically and all of the advanced measures. There's harmonic strength index and things like that that we don't quite have yet on Harmonic Trader on the TradingView. But go to Neo Harmonics here. It's right up here, NEO Harmonics. And also here's the free book too. If you want to get the free book, you can just sign up and get that as well. Also, guys, I will make the Portuguese copy available to you. I'll get you a link for that for those that want to read it in Portuguese. So, but that's what I've got, guys. So I do appreciate the opportunity. And if you want to reach out to me, the best way is to reach out to me on TradingView. Send me a message, follow me there. And I have 275 followers there on TradingView. It's funny. But do check this out and let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Scott, for this webinar for us. It was a great honor to have you here. Thank you very much.
Yes, Scott, thank you very much. It was fantastic, and I hope that harmonic trading become more popular here in Brazil.
We've got some great things that are about to come there, and I think we could probably do something in a few months to feature those updates, because I have things in development right now for Brazilian traders, specifically trading Brazilian stocks, which are I think that's a fantastic market to trade. So look forward to it, guys. Thanks so much.
Bem, boa noite a todos. Obrigado pela audiência. Sem dúvida, esse foi um webinar fantástico. O Scott é um trader incrível, é uma oportunidade realmente de ouro a gente está tendo aqui, de poder conversar com ele e de ver ele falando um pouquinho sobre padrões harmônicos. Muito obrigado, boa noite a todos.